Hello, dear friends, and welcome to our podcast Insight Reading Enlightenment, dedicated to sight reading through the lens of historically informed performance practice. My name is Darina Ablogina. Today we are playing some flute duos and we are reading some French baroque suites. And my guest is...
Hi, I'm Liane Sadler. I'm a traverso player and I'm from Australia and currently in Basel.
Yeah, very exciting. We have a piece of music in front of us. It's a premiere suite written by Jacques-Martin Hotteterre that we have already discussed in one of the previous episodes. This piece is written for a duo without the basso continuo line. So there are only two lines. Yes. Oh my god, this movement is very sweet. It's called musette. And apparently it's referring to a musical instrument, musette. Or
like the bagpipes, but you can play it inside.
Inside?
Yeah, this quite soft. So it's perfect for the chamber, for playing, bringing your shepherds inside and having that pastoral.
Yeah, that's
feel.
also a sort of inner theater.
Yeah.
Chamber.
And they're very beautiful. They have a lot of like ornate decorations on the bag. Or of course it has a drone and you get this lovely swaying feel
Also, Hotteterre has a treatise written for musette, how to play on musette.
Yeah, he was a great musette player as well.
And it says doucement.
Croche pointée.
It means...
very pointed, which means very
sweet.
Very sweet, yeah, and very dotted quavers.
But at the same time we see slurs, a lot of slurs. So
I think
how do you deal with these reading questions?
I kind of assumed that the slurs were to help you get that musette feel with the constant flow of sound. Yeah. But often, of course, we see often a slur means to play the notes more égal. So
More
he writes
equal.
exactly. So he writes specifically to play them very dotted, so that we don't lose that rhythm, but we still have the flow of a musette.
Yeah, visually it looks very beautiful. Actually, all these round lines.
Yeah, you see the flow. It's lovely.
And unexpectedly, we see a jig just before the saraband. Because we look at the score, and on both sides we have those two pieces. And on the left side is the jig, on the right side is the saraband. And that's quite unusual. How do you think?
I think
Have you seen?
you normally see a jig completely last. I don't think I've seen a jig in the middle.
Well, let's see what we will discover at the end. Maybe there will be something else.
Got a fright at the end, like, where do I go?
Yes, I was like, oh. There is a nice imitation at the beginning. Yes, and what do you think about the ornaments?
Yeah, he likes to give you hints, which is really nice. And I try to improvise my own ornaments based on the hints that he's already given. So he gives us a... here there aren't any battements, but there's this port de voix. Hotteterre tells us to put a battement on the port de voix in his...
And what is a battement?
A battement is... how do you describe a battement? I think of it as it's almost like a flicking sound. I think it means to hit, showing my great academic knowledge.
I don't know. I was just always thinking, why do we need ornaments in general?
Okay.
You know, why can't we just be satisfied with a pure, beautiful note?
Well, we can if we like, I suppose. But, well, they talk in the time a lot about decorating the melody, add beauty on top of it. So, of course, it's important if you add too many ornaments or distasteful ornaments, it's not going to add anything to the piece. I like to add quite a lot of ornaments.
And it sounds
play
very
around.
beautiful.
Oh,
I enjoy
thank you.
it very much.
Thanks.
Yeah. Every time we play together, I'm looking forward to listening
thanks.
to your ornaments.
That's very nice.
I'm really enjoying. Sometimes I'm distracted and I can't follow my line. And then I lose. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah.
But it's fun to add them. I mean, it's a jig, so you don't have that much time to add too many ornaments, although this is a slower jig. So maybe you just want to add a few little quick ones. As you said, in the sarabande, we have a lot of ornaments that we have to figure out.
Play the saraband. the saraband, it says La Sainte Maurice.
Sorry.
Yes. So it's dedicated to a person, or maybe a saint, or maybe a place.
Maybe a place.
Maybe a fountain.
Maybe a fountain or a church.
But this saraband is very poetic. It's a very poetic piece of music with written out ornaments. Again, the visual side of this piece is amazing. You can see all these ornaments, and actually it's very valuable information for us. Now we can see them, and probably we can improvise, having in mind those written out ideas of Hotteterre.
And of course, before we were talking about Hotteterre's signals for ornaments. He writes a little plus sign, for example, which means a trill, or just a little line means a battement, or a V shape means port de voix, and it's like a code. So when you see this symbol, you know what to do. But in the saraband, particularly towards the end, he's actually written out ornaments, more in the style of improvisation.
And for both flutes, sometimes we have them again in thirds, in parallel thirds, or sometimes just one flute has a little scale going up, as we played before.
It's funny, these turns that he writes out in thirds, as you say, because if I was improvising them with somebody, I would say only one of us should do it. But he's written it together, so you can do this. Yeah. It's very interesting. And it reminds me of the Airs et Brunettes by Hotteterre as well, this collection of older popular French songs with these written out improvisations where they're amazing.
And these airs, they have this straight connection to the French air de cour, which are even older. They have an older tradition where the airs were written without bar lines.
Really vocal. Really, really vocal.
Yes.
Text-based, and the ornamentation is very vocal in style as well. And very intricate. Like we were saying, almost microtonal sometimes. You could imagine a melismatic...
modern music of the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have played a movement that is called rondo, which consists of two rondos. One is in major and one is in minor. And both of them are very sweet. In the second rondo, which is in minor, I thought that finally I have found a certain balance with my flute and with your flute as well, because it's a new flute that I'm using now, and at first it felt a bit different or maybe even a bit uncomfortable, but in this little rondo I could find this moments of balance and relaxation and complete trust.
Particularly in the minor one.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, the minor key is always particularly lovely in French music. And I was going to say as well, I often feel quite inspired because there's so many colours. There's such a range of colours you can use and play with and sink into and, relax, I think you said.
Relax,
which is, really lovely. The first rondo was very sweet and kind of bright. And
also it reminded me of one of the suites from the first volume of Hotteterre.
The fountain one, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I thought of this too, and I thought, we have this strong motif.
Bright character,
exactly. It's
bright but very light at the same time.
Some joy in there. And then the minor was suddenly very sweet, darker colours, and they both have the sort of imitation style with one voice coming in after the other, but with a really different feel. In the second one it felt like we were flowing into each other and out, whereas the first one was quite...
But both are descending,
like
both motifs are
totally
descending.
Yeah.
Yes, but this one is somehow twisted with a upbeat.
Yeah, just a different feel.
But
you
it's
can
really
create with
interesting.
the same ingredients.
With the same line.
Yeah.
So let's look at the jig. At the end of the whole suite, we have a jig. Yeah, that's quite interesting. So we have two jigs and we can compare them. And one starts with, let's say, an Auftakt with a upbeat. And this one starts on the downbeat and looks, I don't know, at the first sight it looks quite simple. But let's see.
Yeah,
Nothing.
the other one said specifically tendrement or lentement.
Légèrement. Yeah, so like...
Légèrement.
Yeah, but I think these 16 notes, they were kind of confusing in a way, and also it doesn't start on the downbeat.
Yeah. So you didn't have the typical.
But actually, that
country jig
gives
feel.
the feeling of légèrement, of lightness, because it's sort of like hanging in the air.
Yeah,
you try to continue and go on.
You join in rather than starting.
Yes.
And then the second jig at the end, we
more
start
heavy
it's
on the
very
downbeats.
short, yeah.
Also has some strong gestures and long notes. Quite strong. Yeah, confirming the joy of existence. Yeah, and at the end we have this typical petit reprise, small coda, and it's written doux, which means piano. So we can extend the range of our dynamic.
Yeah, really
ideas.
Emphasize that soft flute range.
Yes. So, and now spontaneously, we just discovered there is a passacaglia in this volume, and it's written in B minor, and immediately we wanted to play it. And that's really interesting with the second voice in these kind of pieces. You have to play a role of a basso continuo player, because for instance, at the beginning, it's a basso continuo line.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're joining in some melodic motifs as a second voice. So basically, it's like a trio sonata where the second player has to play both basso continuo and the second violin or second voice, whatever, flute.
You swap between.
That's very interesting. Actually, I enjoy a lot this part.
Yeah.
Second flute is amazing, I think.
I wanted to ask you what you thought of the tempo.
Yes, the tempo is interesting. It's a good question about the tempo. I think it is possible to change the tempo during the piece. Like when we have a major, I had a feeling that we wanted to go a bit faster.
Yeah, I thought, it's a passacaglia, it's very serious, and I was a little bit nervous because it's long, and so I thought, I don't know, I was kind of cautious. So I took a slightly slower tempo, and then when we were playing, I thought, maybe it should be a bit faster, and I felt that I wanted to move it along, but it was too late, and I don't know. Also, when you're sight reading, you're a little bit cautious. So, yeah, I would have liked to do it again, but a little faster.
For me, actually, I enjoyed the tempo very much. For me, it was sort of a beginning from far away. So we were sort of zoomed out.
Right.
And then it was like coming closer, and then like, okay, passing by. I don't know. It felt like procession or on the street, or...
Well, that's a beautiful image.
Actually, I think passacaglia was intended for procession or for people who are just walking on the street.
Promenade or something.
Promenade. So maybe it was this feeling of it's starting somewhere far away. Also, it starts with a very soft mood or character, let's say. It's quite low, I think.
Yeah.
For the second flute, it was definitely... It's very low, but I enjoyed the color.
Yeah, yeah.
It's great, I think.
It's fun to play nice and low. In this music, it's always something really nice.
And even though it's in B minor, somehow it sounds dark. So it's B minor, but it's not the B minor from a sonata written by Bach, for instance, where a B minor is sort of very bright and problematic. Like, not problematic, but how would you describe? It has a lot of tension.
Yeah. We just had a few moments of a little bit of tension, but overall, it wasn't a stressful piece.
How was the middle section for you? It was a pure reaction. That's what I'm looking for always.
Yeah, totally. I always have this. It's a problem for me personally that if you suddenly change to a different key in a piece, mentally I'm thinking, I'm in this new key now. In this case, I'm in B major. I know what B major is, but my fingers are still thinking in the previous key. So I was asking my fingers to do what I asked them, what I told them to do, and they didn't want to cooperate with. Also, B major is like, Wah!
But then some interesting result was achieved.
But it is an interesting section. I mean, you rarely play in B major. It's maybe a brief bar or two in a modulation, but a whole section in B major is really rare as a flute player.
But it sounds very interesting, the color.
Yeah.
It's so new for us.
Totally.
We are not used to this color.
Yeah. A lot of brightness. And you were saying, it's not a bright B minor before, it's a darker B minor. So when you go into B major, there's a lot of sunlight.
Extra
suddenly the clouds cleared away for a moment and some sun comes through.
These little triplets together, I find it's very fresh and so nice. He just uses it once, basically, in this section.
I thought, maybe I should continue the triplet pattern, but I was a bit stressed about the key, so I didn't.
Next time.
Next time.
It was a brilliant sight reading session. Thank you very much, Liane.
Thanks for having me. Very nice.
Thanks.
Cool.